Hi there, Run Meteorologist Robert Spetta here with you today. It is currently the 5th of August, 2014. Today we are still watching Typhoon Halong continuing to move off there towards the north. And this storm system has weakened out over the course of the past 24 hours, but it still is packing quite a punch right now. A very strong typhoon, according to the Japan Meteorological Agency. JTWC rates this with winds right around 90, gusting up to 110 knots. One thing we have been seeing thus far today is really it getting battered by some vertical wind shear, so we're seeing a lot of outflow here on the northeastern periphery of the storm system. What this has done, though, it's doing a little bit of an enhancement in it, and we've actually seen some intensification over the course of the past 6 to 12 hours. That's not going to last forever. Once you start getting too much vertical wind shear, that's going to start to blow the storm apart, and we're going to see a continuous weakening coming out of this. The other big thing that we have seen is that the storm has been tracking off here towards the west, but in the past 24 hours since our last video update, it has made that turn towards the north and is expected to do so throughout the next basically several days until this finally starts to approach Japan, just passing towards the east of Okinawa. So there's several aspects of this storm system that we definitely need to dive into in this video update. First, well, let's talk about what's happening farther towards the west. We have our center of circulation here just towards the northeast Palau, basically due east of the Philippines, and what this has been doing today is enhancing that monsoon. The Habagat, numerous classes canceled around the NCR. I know all classes in Bataan were canceled here on Monday and Tuesday. Numerous reports of flooding. Jim Ed's out there, and he's talking that people there are really saying there's a typhoon in the area, and I think that quite often happens when the Philippines name the storm system. People start to think that a typhoon is going to directly hit them, and then on top of that, you've been seeing, well, basically 48 hours of continuous rainfall. So we have Typhoon Jose there, we have continuous rainfall, but it's not directly associated with our typhoon. It is inadvertently associated with that enhancement of the monsoon. So expect that to continue to linger as far as the enhancement is concerned throughout the next 24 hours, basically on Tuesday going through Wednesday. And then we're going to start to see that rainfall taper off as Halong continues to pull off here farther towards the north, and that monsoonal enhancement moves farther towards the north as well with it. So the shower is going to continue to stay in place at least until about mid to later part of this week if you are out here in Manila. But till then, be careful. 6 inches of water can knock you off your feet if it's moving fast enough. I mean, that's enough. That's enough you would think you would just wade through, but at times that stuff can be very, very dangerous. So let's talk about the wind. This is the next aspect of this storm system, the wind in Okinawa, part 2 of this update, and we're going to talk about, well, where exactly is this storm system going and how close is it going to get to Naha here? Well, right now, JMA and JTWC kind of in line of exactly where this is going to be going. I do want to note, in this model I use here for your video updates, this is the Meteor Earth. This is using the ECMWF model, and it's the western outlier of all of our models here. I want to show this to you right off the bat. It does show the storm system just passing just east of Okinawa, putting your winds right around about 70 to 90 kilometers per hour. That would be tropical storm strength winds. At this time, this seems like the worst case scenario. Tropical storm strength winds, very well possible, but you see where the center of circulation is in our model here and where the center of circulation is from the JTWC. They have it farther towards the east, and if that track follows through, which it seems pretty confident, most models outside of the ECMWF keep our storm system farther off here towards the east. If that track stays farther towards the east, your winds in Okinawa aren't going to be that strong. Tropical storm strength max. And that's basically the same intensity we saw with Nakri last week. So be smart about it out here. Okinawa is built for typhoons, but I know especially the Americans, and it's a reputation us Americans have. We like to have stuff in our yards. Just pick it up. Be smart. And for the Japanese people watching, taking your clothes from outside when everybody dries their clothes out on the laundry out on their balconies. That's just something you would take in, and just be smart about this storm system as it pushes off there towards the east. It's not going to be a Nagori type of situation, just choto kaze ne, but kaze choto soyoi desho, as this just pushes just off there towards the east. Now, eventually, as we look ahead into the forecast, you see all these models split exactly where the storm system is going to be going. That's because it's still very long range, and we have a few things going on here. We have our high pressure ridge just towards the east of Korea here, or excuse me, just towards the east of Japan and Korea. We have our high pressure ridge, and then we have a trough passing off there towards north. How strong is that ridge going to be, and how strong is that trough going to be, depends on exactly where the storm system is going to be making landfall. Both JTWC and JMA, at least at this time, say around the Kyushu Kagoshima area, southern Kyushu, large city there of Kagoshima. That's where JMA exactly has their track going. Actually, I shouldn't say JTBC because JTBC has it farther towards the east, coming on shore around Shikoku. Regardless, the storm system's going to be much weaker. We are already talking about the wind shear having a problem on this. It's going to be the rainfall. This area of Japan, western Japan, has already seen an incredible amount of rain. This past week, some areas over 1,100 millimeters of rainfall has come down out here. So the flooding is going to be a major issue. By the time the storm system makes it off here to mainland Japan, I'm not going to be worried too much about the center line of this. Yes, it's going to be packed some gusty winds, but it's the rainfall that's going to take place. It's more or less the big problem is how fast is it going to be going as it pushes across here, because if it takes its time, then we could be looking at a very, very serious flooding situation on our hands. And eventually this could even work its way off there towards Japan by, well, Sunday or into Monday of next week, not Japan, but Tokyo, that is, by Sunday and the Monday of next week, bringing some gusty winds around the Kanto Plain. Meanwhile, I want to show this to you because I'm looking at the long range, and I know some of you might see this. We have a tropical depression in the Central Pacific. That may drift over into our basin, so we're going to keep an eye on that too, just by the way. That is spinning out there, and I think that's eventually going to recurve, so it's not going to be impacting any land areas, but something we're going to watch, one of these crossover storms coming from the Central Pacific. So for our roundup, we are still watching everything going on in the Philippines down there towards the south. The enhanced monsoon is going to continue to bring those flooding rains throughout the rest of Tuesday into Wednesday. Okinawa, looking at tropical storm strength winds, max destructive winds as far as that 50 knot standard the military uses. I don't think it's going to happen. It's possible as far as the gust. Stuff's going to blow around, so be prepared as our storm system just passes towards the east. And as far as western Japan is concerned, the wind is not going to be the big problem. It's going to be the rain, and we're going to be looking at a major flood threat, especially across eastern portions of Kyushu and most definitely Shikoku into the Kochi area. All right, guys, stay safe out there. And thanks again for watching. Oh, by the way, this was taken by Astro Reed. Follow him on Twitter. Fantastic. Just following on Twitter. He's an astronaut on the International Space Station that tweets out photos, and sometimes he puts out some cool stuff. This is just a sunset image of Typhoon Halong. All right, bye.